Welcome to Schoolnet Student View of Data. I'm Rebecca Stokes, Product Manager for Schoolnet. So today we are going to go through the student view in Schoolnet and how they can view their data. So once a student logs into Schoolnet through their NC Ed Cloud, this is the screen that they're going to see, except it's going to have their name and then it's going to list their name and their school. So normally the students are used to putting in a passcode here to take a test. They might also see some assignments here in the student workspace if the teacher has put in the setting that the test be listed in the student workspace. Also, if the teacher has given some assignments, then they would see that through the upcoming assignments widget here. But what we're going to look at is the student profile. So this is where students can choose to either look at benchmark test or classroom test. So we're going to look at classroom test. And keep in mind for your classroom test, when you want students to be able to see the questions after the assessment. You want to make sure that you put no restrictions in your test settings, because if you add restrictions, then that is going to change what they can see in their data. So I'm going to just click on this very first assessment here. So anything that's blue, students can click on. So I'm going to click on this assessment here. And actually, let me go back really quick before I even click there. I want to show that. So the students will see the name of the assessment, when the test was given, the date it was submitted, as well as the time they submitted. Then they can also immediately see their score as well as their score group. So now I'm going to click on that test. Okay, and it's going to give a question review initially, and it's going to list out all the number of questions. Then it's going to say whether it was correct, yes or no, how many points they received, and the question type. Students can also click on Standards Review if they would like to see the standards that they had, the number of questions per standard, and then how many of those questions they got correct. So if you are having data conversations with students and they are looking at their data, then they can go in and focus on certain standards if preferred. You can also click this little plus sign and it'll tell them which questions were a part of that standard as well. So we're going to go back to question review. And like I said earlier, anything that's blue is hyperlinked, so the students can click on the question because this test did not have restrictions. And this is an ELA assessment, so it's going to have a passage. So I can read back over the passage. I can scroll down. I can see the question. I can see the standard associated with that question. I can see what my answer was, which is going to be highlighted. I can also see if that was the correct answer with a check. If I had chosen D and it was incorrect, then it would have a red X. Or if I did not answer it at all, it would have this gray slash letting me know that it was unanswered. But I did get this question correct. So then I can scroll back up and I can see all of the other questions on this assessment. And I just hit this arrow to keep going. But if I see I got 1 through 6 correct and I want to focus on number 7, I can click on that number 7. And then I see the passage. Can scroll down to get to the question. Okay, so again, I can see what the question was, what the standard was. I can see what my answer was, which was D, but I can see that I got that incorrect, and I can see that the correct answer was A. And I can do that with all of the questions. Now, if a student is looking at their score for a restricted test, click on benchmark, click on this one. Then they can do the same thing depending on the restrictions. So this one, it looks like it does not have restrictions. So I can see my choice. Let's see if I can find a restricted assessments just so you can see what it would look like. Oh, it looks like none of these are restricted. So if you get to a assessment that it does have restrictions on it, then these numbers will be grayed out so you cannot click on them and it will say questions are hidden for security, but they will be able to see if they got it correct, how many points they received, and what question type it was. That is a quick overview of how students can access their data in their student profile and access our previous assessments data as well. Please let us know if you need additional support on the student view of Schoolnet. We are happy to help.